All right, today is chapter 10 of the Semen Retention Miracle book, where we get into fasting, meditation, cold showers, and more. Guys, this has been a phenomenal book. There's only like 2 chapters left in it for me to read for you guys. If you go back on my channel, I've just been reading through this chapter by chapter. So you can find all the earlier chapters in past videos. But it's basically helping you guys understand semen retention and the power that it really does offer you to transform your health, your wealth, your longevity, and ultimately your life. So let's dive into it. And again, I approach all this from my personal semen retention journey that I'm on right now. Today is day 220 of that streak. Pretty freaking wild. Okay, chapter 9, fasting, meditation, cold showers, and more. If you are committed to semen retention, and particularly if you've chosen to be celibate for a short time, you're going to need to find a way to control your sexual urges. Facts. By the way, guys, this one is a very short chapter. It's not nearly as long as the other ones, so we should be able to get through this one pretty quick. Yeah, you got to be able to control the urges. Better yet, you want to redirect that energy into other more productive areas of your lives. Facts. You might be wondering what you can do to keep yourself from thinking about one of the strongest urges known to us. Also facts. There are a number of techniques and practices that can help you with this, and in the process, lead you towards becoming the best version of yourself. Take a look at the list below and see which ones resonate with you in particular. They can make for powerful tools as you embark on the journey. Okay, self-awareness, number 1. Getting to know yourself is a good way to keep your mind off of sex, because becoming more aware of what you like and what you don't like and how you affect the other people in your life gives you something to focus on. Additionally, many people don't know why they are triggered sexually. And this is a good time to start to figure it out. Once you know more about yourself, you'll understand what triggers your powerful urges. Moreover, if you have had any traumatic experiences in your life, those things that remind you of the past can trigger a need to seek out comfort, which often takes the form of sex or self-pleasure. Dude, that's for real. When you become more aware of what triggers your urges and why, you become more adept at disarming them, and also, guys, just avoiding them, learning to not put yourself in the situations that you know is going to take you off your SR journey. It's kind of like, I'm still learning to balance this right now with what Boredom says, putting women in the SR lobby, getting their numbers, but like keeping them at a distance and taking it slow, because I have a tendency historically to move fast, and just learning like, okay, if I have that tendency, she can't come over. I shouldn't go over there. Like, let's go walk around. Let's go for a drive. Let's like do something, not that. Interpret your feelings with words. Sometimes feelings of vulnerability and fear can cause you to seek out something to deflect those emotions. Dude, emotions, I still fully believe, are the real reason for any relapses, and like the thing that derails most men's semen retention journeys. It's the intense, high pressure of the emotions that are building up within you. Often what you seek out is something sexual or detrimental to your health, such as junk food, or spending excessive time playing video games. When you actually name your feelings, you can more readily identify your fears and subsequent needs. And when you identify your needs, you can find a more appropriate way to fulfill them. If you can't name your feelings, you can't name your needs, and you'll be unable to meet your needs. And oftentimes, guys, we end up trying to get our needs met by everybody outside of us, people outside of us externally, because we aren't giving that thing to ourselves in the first place. Think about that. One example that I've recognized of that for me is this need of validation from women. Why? Because having them intimately makes me feel powerful. It makes me feel like a man. It makes me feel worthy, loved, appreciated, respected. Aren't those all things? That's freaking hair, dude. Aren't those all things that I can just give to myself? Aren't those all feelings that I can train and program into myself, so I just feel them anyways, and I don't need to go get a woman to validate that for me, reflect that back to me? And then the funny thing is when you become that, then you don't necessarily need the woman as much, and now they want you more, and like, because you're not attached to anything. Getting real. Once you're able to name and meet your needs, you won't automatically need to seek out sex to make you feel something different. That's literally what I just said. Literally what I just said. So when you're feeling triggered, write down exactly what you're feeling and what need or pattern or thought links you to that feeling. For example, you might be feeling apprehensive, and the need associated with that is to be comforted. That leads to sex. Or you might be feeling bored, and the need associated with that is to be stimulated, which leads to sex. Once you understand that you need some kind of deflection, you can now choose other things aside from sex to meet your needs. Set your thoughts aside. When you're feeling those sexual urges, briefly acknowledge them, but then set them aside for the moment. You're not rejecting or suppressing them. This might make you feel guilty or ashamed. In this way, you can validate your thoughts and needs, but wait to explore them. You're not suppressing them. That can help them fade into the background and allow you to refocus your attention on something else. Take a break. It's easy for your thoughts to wander when you're tired or bored. When you give yourself a break, you can lower your urges. Take a walk, have a healthy snack, recharge your energy reserves, and take your mind off sexual thoughts. It also positively affects your emotional mindset by allowing you to reset your thinking and get back on track with productive pursuits. That's a really good one for me, guys. When I'm really getting horned up, I go take a walk. I don't care what time it is. I get fresh air, I get moving, and that helps a lot. Write it down. If you simply can't get your mind off those sexual urges, then you can find a different way to get them out of your system. Try writing them down in detail. Of course, you'll want to make sure you're in a place where you cannot act on any sexual urges. You also should take a little time and do this. You can even save what you've written for a time when you want to explore those urges more intimately. For example, maybe you're fantasizing about your partner. Preserve your fantasy by writing about it. When you're being intimate together, even if it's without sex, you can discuss what you've written. Okay, well, that's one thought. Play some music. Hey, I got a piano right there, and a guitar right there, and more guitars right there. Music can be a way to distract yourself from your thoughts. Yeah. If you put on something that makes you want to dance, it can help tone down your libido and warm up your body. There you guys, dance more. There you go. Phone a friend. Regis, I'd like to phone a friend. It can also help if you've got someone to talk to about your feelings, particularly if you know someone who's also practicing semen retention. Guys, this right here, this is why I think it's going to be so powerful when I do finally launch my men's health group that I'm still just dreaming and working on. And there's something about having active support that you can talk through stuff. You can bounce ideas off people. Be like, oh, hey, I'm not the only one doing this. There's other guys doing this. Okay, fantastic. It's kind of like getting a sponsor for addictive behavior. Yeah, like the sponsor, someone who understands what you're going through, can give you tips as well as empathize with what you're feeling. They can also help remind you of all the positive reasons why you're doing this. Moreover, sometimes what's triggering your sexual urges is nothing more than a desire for closeness, and a good friend can often fill that need while also helping you get your libido under control. Yeah, I would agree with that, guys. We have this desire, this human desire for connection, for community. It's not a bad thing. Leaning more into that right now when you're taking sex off the table is probably the move. Distract yourself. There are a number of things you can do to distract yourself from sexual urges. It helps to get outside when you can't fulfill those urges. Yes, go for a walk, meet new friends for dinner, grab a drink, read a good book outdoors, go bowling, do something fun. When you make a change in what you're doing, you'll notice how quickly your thoughts change. Exercise, get out, get your body moving. Facts. Even if what you're looking for is comfort, exercise causes the body to release endorphins, and as a result, You'll start feeling better. Exercise also keeps your body moving and gives you more energy to get done the tasks that will move you forward with your goals. One thing that's also cool about exercise too, guys, I heard this recently from another guy, is that when you really put your body through intense workouts and you start consuming those resources for the working out, your body then doesn't have the resources to be questioning everything. And it's a really good opportunity to be reprogramming your mind with like affirmations and changing beliefs, because if they're going to slip into your mind better because it doesn't have the resources or the bandwidth at that moment to be protecting and poking holes in them. So this is why when I work out, I like to listen to music that is just like, you could call it like affirmative music, but it freaking slaps. Like look up Connor Price and like Nick D's stuff that they do together. It's just like flex music, dude. It's like speaking everything that you want over your life. Abel Hart is another one. I should probably make like a Spotify playlist at some point for everybody to use on here, because I got some good shit in there. Try fasting. Here we go. This one's huge. Whether you're doing it for religious reasons, for weight loss, or a particular healthy lifestyle, fasting decreases certain hormones. These in turn can impact your sexual desire. Guys, at the start of my YouTube channel, if you go back to day 26, the first day that I started documenting my SR streak that I'm on right now, I was finishing up, I believe, a 10-day water fast. And then at some point, like a month later, I did a 5-day dry fast. When I tell you semen retention took the back burner and it was like I wasn't even doing it, I mean it, because it didn't even matter. I had a much more pressing thing that I was doing, which is, bro, I'm going without food, or I'm going without food and water for an extended period of time. I don't even care about the semen retention. That's easy in comparison. And my body gets healthier in the process. These in turn can impact your sexual desire. One study of people fasting as a part of Ramadan found drops in the serum follicle stimulating hormone, as well as in sexual desire, body weight, and the frequency of sexual intercourse. The researchers concluded that intermittent fasting might be associated with decreased sexual desire among participants. It makes sense because fasting tells your body that you're not getting enough food, and as a result, your body starts focusing on staying alive rather than reproduction. Does make sense. Cold showers. A cold shower does a number of things. First, it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system. Remember, the sympathetic nervous system, right? That's the fight or the flight system. It's what gets stimulated when you're sexually aroused. The parasympathetic nervous system is the opposite of the sympathetic nervous system. It's your chill and relaxed nervous system, and it's turned on by the vagus nerve. Cold showers stimulate the vagus nerve, which turns on the parasympathetic nervous system, and that helps calm you down. Dude, I've always wanted clarity on that. There you have it. Cold showers are great, guys. Everybody says do the cold showers, because it flips on your parasympathetic nervous system, which is where your body heals and gets calm because of the vagus nerve. Fantastic. It's something to do anytime you're feeling aroused and has been tested down the ages as a way of bringing down the sexual urges. So if it gets really intense, guys, just go jump in a cold shower. Meditation. It's a great way to train your mind and redirect your thoughts and understand your emotions. You can get to know yourself better this way, and it helps your brain to form new positive habits. Aside from redirecting your thoughts, meditation helps you to dampen your sexual urges by grounding you in the present moment. It's also a great way to better understand your life purpose and has numerous physical benefits, including lowering blood pressure, reducing anxiety, and preventing depression. It's one good habit you'll be happy to have in your toolkit for life. Get creative. Yeah, this is my favorite one, I think. Remember sexual transmutation. This is when you can really get into doing just that. When you're feeling those sexual urges and not sure how you can control them, get creative. Sit down, paint, sculpt, play music, write creatively, or do something creative. As you start to channel that energy into something creative, you'll see that hobby will really take off. Yeah, it might even become part of your life purpose. You could even use that creativity to make plans for something you want to do to change your life or solve a problem you've been having trouble with recently. That is literally what I have been doing for like this this entire streak, guys. I'm aiming this sexual energy, I'm transmuting it to my businesses, okay? To my music business, to dreaming up and creating this community for you guys. I'm doing creative stuff with these videos, posting videos, recording videos, making content for you guys. I love to transmute this into things that give my life more meaning and purpose and long-term value and long-term fulfillment. I would highly encourage you to do the same. Fill up your schedule. Everyone needs time to relax, but when you've got time on your hands, it's easy for those racy thoughts to start happening again. While you need to leave yourself some downtime, try to keep your schedule as full as possible on SR. This will keep you active and keep your mind busy. Additionally, sex is often an answer to boredom. We've talked about that a lot. So, if you keep yourself occupied, you won't feel bored. The less time you give yourself to think those sexy thoughts, the more successful you'll become at controlling the urges. Here's one. Think of the least sexy things that you can. Think of the things that will turn you off. Perhaps it's the nails on a chalkboard, a break in a sewage line, car horns, an ambulance siren, or whatever. Oh, dude, you want to get into some things that can turn you off with a woman? Think about all the past dudes that have been railing her. Think about all that, right? You'd be like, oh, think You'd be like, think of that chick going in, taking a shit like everybody else does. You know, it's like, oh, that's less attractive. Yeah, that fantasy kind of dies once you start to humanize the women. Once you start to think of all the other men that she's been with. That's a big one for me. Or here's one. You think of her just wanting your money, just wanting to seed your sexual energy and then bouncing and then just taking it and running. Like, that stuff is really unattractive. Put those images in your mind when lustful thoughts come calling, and you're likely to forget all about the sexual imagery. It's kind of like the mental equivalent to taking a cold shower. This is something, however, that you can only use occasionally as the power of it diminishes over time. Yeah. Still, it can be very effective in those situations where you need to stop yourself from thinking sexual thoughts right then and there. Agreed. Change your diet. Some foods act as an aphrodisiac to increase your sexual desires, so to stop being horny, you might need to adjust your diet. Since ancient times, people have understood that certain foods increase your libido, but you might not know that there are also anaphrodisiac, which are foods that lower your sex drive. What? I didn't know. Asparagus? Bro, I just had asparagus tonight. Did I know this? Did I freaking know this? Oh, no. This is the opposite. Asparagus, watermelon, almonds, oysters, figs, chili peppers, and strawberries are all foods that are likely to increase your sex drive. Okay, so I had asparagus tonight. I'm increasing my sex drive. Alcohol can also put you in the mood. Yeah, particularly wine. So I don't drink anymore. So to reduce your libido, you might want to cut down on alcohol and avoid those stimulating foods. I've heard men say too that like alcohol has an insane effect when you're on semen retention. With the amount of energy that you're holding, like you're kind of playing with fire. I don't do that. Also, to know what's triggering your libido specifically, it can be helpful to keep track of your meals and compare your sexual energy level with the food you've consumed. You'll soon identify those foods that are increasing your sexual desire, and you can then avoid them. Soy-based foods that are high in saturated fats, vegetable oil, salt, and sugar can suppress your sex drive the most. Well, that's great, but I do not like any of that stuff. I do like salt. Yeah, I avoid the vegetable oil and all that. However, these foods are also unhealthy, so it's not as good an idea to begin consuming them in abundance. Instead, here are some foods that can lower your sex drive while ensuring you still stay healthy. Here we go. Mint. Okay. Flaxseed products, beets, and cruciferous vegetables. I had broccoli tonight. I knew it. Granted, these are not the most exciting foods, but they do the job. Sample daily schedule. It can also help to see an example of how you might structure your day to prevent yourself from being distracted by sexual thoughts. It entails keeping yourself busy, but also taking some downtime that is focused on something other than sexual desire. Here's an example that might help you structure your days so that you'll have success when practicing semen retention and or nofap. 6 a.m., get up early, start the day with 30 minutes of meditation. Great. Follow your meditation with 30 minutes of journal writing. Try writing about your life's purpose, the goals you must hit to achieve that purpose, and your timeline for achieving your goals. It's good to do this stuff in the morning, guys, when you have a full tank of energy for the day and you can really dream and envision and do this creative stuff. And basically then do the admin tasks, the things that you don't necessarily have to think much about or like solve creatively, come up with problems. Put that stuff towards the later half of the day because you don't need as much energy for that. That's what I like to do. 7 a.m., 30 minutes of exercise. 7:30, eat healthy breakfast. 8 a.m., self-hygiene, shower, shave, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., work. 5 p.m., catch happy hour with a friend. 7 p.m., eat a healthy dinner. 8 p.m., spend 30 minutes reading something inspiring. This could be something related to your profession, goals, spiritual goals, 8:30, spend some time on a creative hobby. Page 111, shout out to my favorite number. Write a short story, paint. There it is, guys. I know lots of you like to paint by number, so we got that for you. Paint a picture, make some, and your pottery. Do your pottery at night, guys. Really anything creative. 9 p.m., watch the early evening news. The F I will. Not a chance, dude. Screw the news. 9:30, engage in your evening meditation practice. That's a good one. Go to bed early, 10 p.m. Personally, for me, I would swap out like the whole happy hour and stuff, and I would just like work on a side business or side project. Of course, this might not match up perfectly with your schedule, as you should adjust it accordingly, but it gives you an idea of how well you can fill up your day with things that keep you active as well as activities that help you relax. You have some social time as well as alone time, and you engage in self-reflective activities to keep you growing personally. Chapter summary, guys. In this chapter, we just discussed activities and ideas that can help you control your sexual desire while you're practicing semen retention and or nofap. Specifically, we've discussed the following topics. Various ideas for lowering your sex drive, some techniques for sexual transmutation, a sample schedule for keeping busy and keeping your mind off of sex. Pretty good stuff. In the next chapter, by the way, it's basically the last chapter. Chapter 10, yeah. You will learn of any potential drawbacks of semen retention. So the next chapter, we're going to get into the downsides of semen retention. And it's actually really short. I'll probably record that tonight. I can tell you exactly what the downsides of semen retention are because, I've been dealing with them on up to day 220 here. But there you have it, guys. I mean, those are a lot of good strategies actually for avoiding the sexual urges, especially around full moons. If you're realizing that you are getting horny AF around these moons, like I've slowly been realizing in the past couple months, then it's like, okay, maybe I do more fasting and more cold showers and more meditation and more keeping myself busy and doing things. And like, maybe that's what I do around the full moons. Something to think about. Whew. I just recorded like 3 chapters tonight, guys. Don't say I don't do anything for you. Don't you say it. I really want to get this full book out and released for you guys, these last chapters, just because it's a good one. And I know not everybody's going to have the time to read all of this. So yeah, that's chapter 9. Peace, love, abundance to you all. I will catch you on the next one.